Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy here, Big City rap artist, amateur, 3Tron. So it's actually given to me from the production company that I work with. So, um, most of you know me as my name Tony. It's actually Antonio Marcelino, Tony for short. And this is my rapper's name. I guess just doing a video. Just want to fill in a few things here. I don't know where to start really. I mean, there's a couple subjects I want to talk about. I think the first one, which really comes to my head, is street beef. Let's start with that. The street beef is basically, when you grow up, you have this reputation that you want to withhold, right? You want to stand by your pride, your ego. I guess when it comes down to street beef, it's I try not to take too much credit for it. It's people want to act like morons. They want to be assholes. And it's going to happen, right? This is the real world. This is how shit's gonna pop off. So, I have a lot of street beef. A lot of street beef. I'm 39. Okay, I've been growing up. Lots of haters. A lot of naysayers, shit talkers. I've been labeled A to Z. Fucking. It's I feel for everyone else who's got the same, pretty much, they're in the same shoes as I am. With me, I guess when it came down to it, rapping was my favorite thing to do, so I could actually express my emotions through lyrical flow within my music, my rap songs. So, don't get me wrong, I'm I may be a rapper, but I'm a little more than just that. I'm also a hustler, a gambler, and I kind of want to say retired gangster. I don't know, but I think the safer word for it is retiree. If that's even possible to say this at this moment. Well, the thing is, I try to keep to my more positive remarks. So the music actually really gets me going. It gets me away from this reality. It makes me feel like I'm top of the world, So, so I've done a lot of music. I've done a lot of songs, and I got a couple albums out. I first started off Studio 69, and that was my first studio I ever started off with. And it wasn't really much. It was my homie's house, and he was just basically the producer, and he did everything by computer. He edited the credits and whatnot. There was no videos, no actual live, no live music videos. We're coming up to that. We're trying to get into actual live music videos going. But what he did was still pictures that would flip over, but you would hear me singing in the background after I've done some studio time, and he would digitally mix that into the still pictures. So, kind of going a little off track here, because that was actually the second topic I want to talk about was the music. But when it comes back to street beef, me being me being gangster, growing up, I was always the victim. I was always bullied. I was always pushed around, beaten up, everything. I changed that quickly, just after the age of 18, coming out of high school, and I didn't nothing was joined within that, and at that point, I felt confident enough to turn things around. And if you really want to say it, I was more vigilante, Samaritan. So, but a lot of things, even through adulthood, pretty much it pushed me over the edge. Still, I mean, I grew up with minor autism, or what they call it as Asperger's syndrome. Um, so, and then followed along with that was PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, personality disorder. So there was a lot of things that was followed through. Being beaten up and abused by family and bullies and friends. I have a hard time keeping friends. I have a hard time making friends. Nowadays, it's not as hard. Like, I acquired this leadership skills. I was antisocial, and I'm more sociable now, right? So I mean, I still kind of pop in and out of antisocial mode every now and then. So, but because of all that trauma and the abuse I've taken, and yeah, I got myself caught up with the law and everything, and which is ironically, the law knows my family, so we kind of have a couple, friends that are law enforcement. I mean, I guess through just with the family there, not so much me. I'm when it comes down to authority's not my favorite honor. I don't I don't bow before authority. I see authority as a big major fuck you. So, parents, the authority of parents, I ain't gonna fucking listen. Most people, oh, you're my mom and dad, I'm gonna listen to you and whatnot. So, but the kids are supposed to fear the parents. They're grown up to be to love them, to fear them. Especially the father, I guess if you want to say it. Kind of just grown up to be taught discipline, whatnot. Me, no. Everything that happened with me was just one big fuck you. Kick me out of the fucking house. I could get locked up in lockup centers and group homes, foster homes, everything. It's because they didn't know how to take care of me. They didn't know how to handle me. So, but yeah. So basically, when coming down to street beef is, as you're growing older, you got these friends, then they turn and something happens, or they have a disagreement in something that they disagree with you, or maybe you disagree with them. You kind of take that hood mentality with you, and you just, you want to play the fiddle, the devil's fiddle, and you just go on the streets and it happens, like shit happens. So, I mean, like, especially with street beef, I mean, being a gangster and all, weapons and whatnot. So, I'm just gonna introduce you to something. Now, this is one of my favorite collections. It was one of my best defenses. I mean, I never really got to use it. I use it more for intimidation, but now it's more for archives. So I call him basically Mr. Stabby. I know, I didn't have proper names, whatever. I mean, I don't even know why people name their objects, but this was one of the popular ones. I don't just carry those little tiny those little flip knives. When I go with style. I go with art, with art, right? So I don't know what to say. I'm not proud of being a gang member, like whatever. I mean, when I first started off, I was Westside Crips. Seize Up. you know. And at the time we were like just like, okay, C's up, B's down, that kind of dumb, that kind of dumb shit. And I was in my early 20s. I might have just been turning about 20, 21 at the time. And I'm 39 now, like I said. And so I started off at Crips. And in the day, which is scary because I don't know if this guy's my cousin, and I'm related to Bulio's, distant cousins there. And Josh Bulio he was actually a roommate at the time when I lived on Hargrave in this downtown city of Winnipeg. And he recruited me to Westside Crips. So I got to meet a couple of famous people he knew. And there was Cookie. He knew Cookie. He's a rapper technically too. If you ever want to read up or search up the YouTube. Brain fart. I'll have to get you that later on. But his name was Cookie, and that's new Hitler. Hitler was a East Side Crip, but he had a real name. That was just his nickname. I was homies with him for a while. I was West Side Crips, but Hitler was East Side. And the thing with West Side, East Side, whatever, is just in the Crip set, it was. There was some powerful love. There was a connection, there was I couldn't say much really. I mean, there was a little shadiness in between, and this had nothing to involve with the gang. At the time, it was more involving the actual person. So we were homies, right? We were bros, and Crips was just. I don't know. When we get involved in gangs, it's usually we want protection, or we just want to feel loved. We want something that our parents wasn't giving us. This is a fucking family, man. We felt welcome. We felt loved. We felt like we were part of something that we always wanted, and this is what we needed from them, which we wanted from the parents, right? But the parents weren't giving it to us. So, but then again, coming down to it is, there's this thing called initiation. You get your beats and everything, or whatever you got to do job. You're making money, right? So, but especially with low-level street gangs, you're not making a whole lot. So, sorry. Okay. I just want to say that we have to cut it down here right away, but we're going to do a part 2. I guess of this interview. So, but that's basically street heat, right? Street heat is coming, like, your popularity, you got the beef and everything, and it's just, you gotta survive, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? And me being 39, I'm gonna be retiring very soon, and it don't mean I'm still gonna be a fucking little pussy, since I may be retired, but I fucking throw a hit if I want. I fucking take hits too, so it's nothing. But I think these guys are wanting to do a part 2 of the video, so we're gonna cut this off. Part 2 is I'll explain more in part 2 about my music. But just finishing this off, a street beef is I had a lot of enemies. I still have a couple enemies now. But my popularity and respect level was so high. I started my street crime credit, my street life, when I was the age of 11, and it's so high now. It's I'm well respected and well known, especially with my other careers going. So I think a lot of people pretty much fear me now, right? So it's something I don't want, but with me having all these mental disorders and everything else, I fucking boom. And I guess the bottom line to this is fear is not good to require respect or love. You don't want your friends or your homies or family, whatever, to fear you in order to get your respect and love. It's like intimidation. It's almost like extortion. So, but anyways, we're cutting it off now. So, going to 15 minutes here. I'll be back in part 2, and we'll explain more about my music. 3 Tron, Tony. Ciao.